And this is one of the conversations that a lot of people were talking about when Harbor came out. If he's gonna be played, it's probably gonna be as a second controller, and that's crazy to think for FaZe, because when you're thinking double controller, you're thinking a lot of a slower pace for a team that is the complete opposite. So I'm excited to see how this is gonna turn out. Again, G2 won both of the pistol rounds for that map number 1. Is this the way that they take advantage and they're able to hold it toward the end?
Well, it looks like they're still able to find ways to go quick. Barrier Orb, unfortunately, only allows for one avenue of approach as you pass 410. As Boys goes atop the 410 box, tries to find some pop shots, and unfortunately, they don't land the way that he was hoping. And we have 10 alive, Dryad, and the spike is planted.
It's going to be pretty much the same scenario as we saw before. FaZe going for the utility, using that owl drone early on and getting that spike planted, playing for the post plant so well. Though G2 was able to answer back in time. Obviously good for 2. It seems like G2, they're in control for this one on IceBox. Rossi, Superman, the only ones able to answer back.
Oh, Rossi just hoping and praying that he could get a spam on the diffuser, but Dapper runs him down. And so we didn't get, you know, the deepest taste of our Harbor here in the pistol round, but what we do know, Dryad, is G2 is 100% on pistols here starting in this Challengers League, so it bodes well.
I mean, it's just crazy, right? Oh, you're 100% on pistol rounds, great, but can you close out the maps? Can you actually keep up with the score? Because FaZe is once again going for the Stinger, and I talked about it before, right? So before in Fracture, it was working out because it was composition that was allowing them to play up close. Can they do it, especially if they're gonna end up on this B side?
Spike planted means the best buy FaZe could hope for. Full of stingers. 5 players on this side of the map as well, out towards A. So a heavy lean for FaZe. Deathball strategy, run and gun. Accuracy by volume is going to be the name of the game here out towards the A side. And there's only one defender. That's Penny. To try and hold on to this one. Audible. Compromise. Maybe. Nope. They hang on to the owl drone for now, and that slow orb should keep him at bay.
You're going to wait for a little bit longer. Of FaZe, they really like to play this second part of the round, those 45 seconds. That's when they go in, but they don't even have to wait for that baby getting that opening.
And 1 for 1 thus far. Good Bulldog shots from Oxy. Rossi going to try and hit the spike planted once more. No util to deny here. Good shots again from Oxy, however. He'll back away to reload, tries to play the spam, and at the very least for FaZe, I mean, not around 1 because you're forced into this one, but you're getting some extra credits. Snake bites go out. Poised looks to reposition, and he gets caught on his way out. Rossi stuck on the site. Superman has the high ground. Rossi's still undetected, but unfortunately he's surrounded. Eventually will pop out, and Whack-A-Mole is there. Shazam takes down his counterpart. Oxy has one hell of a round, and now he's 1 pip away from having that showstopper as we work our way into round 3.
Yeah, a really good start now for G2. 2 rounds that they're able to capitalize with, keeping 3 of those weapons too, and making sure that FaZe is not going to have too much. Are they doing it again? Okay, well, I mean, you know that the damage is just enough to be able to do it. The problem here, right, is it forced some really uncomfortable post-lane positionings for FaZe because they couldn't play so far back. They were playing a little bit close, and that's when Oxy was able to get all those frags. And like you said, 1 more needed for that showstopper. And if it ends up on the A side, you have all that control of the map.
Standing ahead.
Yeah, and this is great for G2, right? Because FaZe, their next round should be their full buy. And it'll be a full buy for G2 plus the showstopper, right? Oxy will have that ultimate online, so should at the very least be good for his 1, if not for some more. And as we take a look at this buy, just like we saw in the previous round, Light Shield Stingers, when you're forcing up like that, you look at what it does to the economy. There's 1 Shock Dart, Rossi already used it. There's 1 Snake Bite, and Superman is only going to have that to play with. So, like you said, the post plant, it doesn't feel good for FaZe when they have the Stingers here, but they've made their way up successfully inside the tube, getting into kitchen, however, and that'll be spotted.
One of the biggest benefits here for this Killjoy, and also having to play so far back, making sure that the KO is not going to stop that utility from coming through, and playing down as well. Dapper takes on Superman.
Boy's going to get one back, though. The rifle to be picked up should they want it. Poised finds another. And the high tide makes this one a little bit harder to want to force through, right? You don't want to push through that. You're going to be slow. You don't know what's on the other side. Good backstab from Penny, however. The player through Snowman. No way. Baby Bay just walks through and takes the fight. As Rossi...
Penny can do it, though.
Getting healed up here. When that Viper util was decayed for just a second. Baby Bay in a really rough spot in terms of HP. And that spike...
10 seconds left.
Not good. Rossi gonna pick that one up. No way. He sneaks away. Baby Bay with the high ground and closes out the round. Some way, somehow, FaZe do it, Dryad.
And that almost worked out, right? That 1v2 could have been with... But just shooting, revealing that position made it a lot easier for Baby Bay to know exactly where the last player was located. Shutting him down. We're still seeing the slow style from FaZe, and I think it's going to continue to be this way. This time around going for the mid control early on. And trying to build up from that. G2 is not going to have the same thing, but for the first time, an early attempt at this B site. And it's only a Viper there.
Yeah, only Whippy holding it down. Owl Drone. It should expire before confirming anybody out towards yellow, but you have to assume Rossi, however, doesn't have the recon bolt, so they're going to have to put a body there if they want to try and confirm the information. Lockdown available. Look at this. Going up top. Clears out just about everything. Whippy will be able to sneak away towards danger. There's not really anybody in position to help him out just yet. As the toxic screen goes up, they'll back all the way off the site. And now should be able to get this one planted. Look at this. No Sage, but the Cove is there to block some of that fire. No way. Spam through, though. Penny gonna die all the way out towards Snowman.
In using that smoke as pretty much a siege wall to protect themselves as that spike gets planted in the corner, though. But this is gonna be so risky. Noxy just absolutely on fire with the paint shells. Takes on poise.
Noxy really picking up where he left off in the last one. It's top frag for the squad. He's gonna go up top, the showstopper, but it gets absolutely nothing. Fortunately, Dapper and Whippy battle back for so much more than they could have hoped for. The snake bite goes out. Whippy forced to fight forward. Vulnerable and taken down. Supa wins the 1v1 and FaZe will tie us up.
And to me, this map is going to be the same as we saw for the map number 1, where you might be seeing FaZe take the advantage towards the end, but it gets so close between the two. And G2, they do seem to have a better read, right? Is the things that we were expecting, right? That Viper playing towards that B side, sometimes having to back up, and again, using that harbor utility as pretty much a siege wall to get that spike planted. It is what is going to continue to enable this entry from FaZe, though it really gets a lot more difficult the more it goes on. Now having a lockdown for G2 on this defense, and 3 of those players already on it.
And adaptations here. Look at this. The cascade goes out and covers so much that the players could walk up deep onto Belt and be tucked away into that corner. Obviously, we have that wherewithal to know that because of our wall hacks, nobody is there. But Baby Bay was flirting with that idea as Dicey just postured up. And this is a position where you have the Viper util out towards B. If you do hit that site, you can just leave Dicey here. He can be that deposit to try and catch anybody rotating through your spawn.
Toxins going up.
And it's going to be another one of those rounds that Alba drone being invested for this site, trying to clear up close. And again, is the only time that we saw it was that Viper for G2 playing right behind yellow. This time around being a little bit more careful for that, as the time is everything that G2 needs. You need this early advantage, especially when they lost that fracture map. The FaZe is gonna end up going for this A.
Reckoning comes out via that old orb. Dicey's will get that one online. Gonna try and force people out of the angles they want to try and fight it, but all you have to do is dance away from the ultimate. That's exactly what Penny does as he looks for more. He now finds himself the only player planted here on the A site. So he'll escape, look to evade for now. Dapper on the high ground. Find the kill onto Poise. And Dapper also has the lockdown available here for the retake, but his teammates are starting to die behind him. Can they keep the lockdown protected? Out goes the cascade. It'll cut off the sight lines, and look at the wrap as shots go through. The lockdown dealt with, and Baby Bay just in the back line. Whippy Has nothing here
What
to
is
work
happening?
with as Rossi dances on the ropes, the tightrope walker, and FaZe will find a lead.
Oh, what did I just see from Rossi? Rossi on this map. It was really interesting to watch when he was playing for the nation at LCQ, and I like this addition now for FaZe and the early advantage. One thing that I'm questioning though was that lockdown. The time for this lockdown was just a little bit odd for G2. Nothing could be done. He got shot down almost immediately. And it was in such an open position too, so FaZe are gonna take the advantage here.
Yeah, G2 just trying to get something back there, but like you said, a lockdown, that position compromised. Baby Bay was able to make quick work of it. It's Cascade once more. This will allow Baby Bay, maybe getting spotted there as he tried to creep up towards Belt. There's a lot more behind it this time, though, right? Baby Bay, Dicey, they're working their way up. The drone just behind it. Boy's gonna hop across and once more take that top 410 position, but he's gonna get spammed out. That Stinger finally getting the kills that G2 could have hoped for. The shock darts baited out. Baby Bay taps on the orb, and FaZe, they haven't quite committed here.
And it's the same attempt of an execute that we saw from FaZe early on, going for the owl drone, going for the fragment as well for that left side. If the wall as well, it was pretty much the same, but now it gets slowed down early on with the Sage as well, as the paint shows that we saw from Oxy. And Oxy, he's been performing here to a high level. You don't want to contest that early on, so FaZe are going to have to adapt. And this is not something that we haven't seen before. We didn't see it on Fracture. And this is when things can get risky for this team, when they have to adapt, when they have to change their initial plan because of what G2 is bringing to them.
Yeah, a recon bolt that landed inside Kitchen. It allowed Supa to sneak all the way up and collect this kill. Baby Bay's been dealt with, however. Oxy, the player you mentioned, found that kill. And, I mean, you're running out of time, FaZe. You got to get something done, and Rossi's got to be the guy to do it. He's got the spike in tow. 1 kill of the 3, but 2 stand, and it's an eBay thrifty for G2 to tie us up.
Superman had a timing there for 1 second, playing all the way back. Almost made it happen, but just shot down. And for the last seconds, this is when things get risky. FaZe with a double controller composition here, going for this A hit more often than not, and the B, it just never really feels safe, right? That the harbor utility goes down and then you don't have so much to work with. This is not a positioning that you want to see if you're on the side of FaZe. Because of that, here they're going to take a timeout. And G2, they look so much better. Maybe it's all happening the opposite way that people are expecting, right? You would expect G2 to do really good on Fracture, and maybe the other way around for IceBox, just based on the results that FaZe got last year. But it's a different story, it's a different composition, and this is also something that we mentioned. FaZe is not that team that is always experimenting with the new things. Though this is the first matchup for challengers, and it's the first time that we get to see Harbor. So you're trying something new, and it's scary to imagine it not working out for them.
Yeah, and it's a different, I think we've seen it in the past, right? I think it just internationally, I believe it was PRX that was, playing the Harbor on IceBox. So it's not, it's foreign to North America for sure. It's not something that we've seen just yet, but it's also different than, if I was to think double controller, on IceBox, I think to Disguise, who play the Omen and the Viper. Definitely not this Harbor that has such a long cooldown on that high tide. It makes it hard to play the opposite side if you're not going where your Viper util is, because you mentioned the clock. And I want to give shouts to Penny, who's been really good with that barrier orb, like sneaking up to the alt orb on A, putting the wall down at 55 seconds, and now you have to wait for FaZe until, what, a 30-second sight hit? It gets really awkward, and the time crunch becomes a huge issue. But we come out of the timeout. The buy, it's not the best for FaZe, but they bought together as a team, so we'll see what they can do as a team.
Right here.
And what you mentioned, right, is that playing together here, that has to make the difference for FaZe. And also for G2, expecting the slow push to come through, expecting the last 30 seconds to be the moment where FaZe tries to do something new.
And it's actually Dapper who's doing something new. He was watching underneath Tube, playing with his util inside Kitchen. Dicey, however, going to decapitate the operator, but Dapper's making sure that this is their round. FaZe took the timeout, but G2 want to take round 7. Cove is up, but it's since been dealt with. Nanoswarm just on the other side is going to force the FaZe players deeper into the defender-sided spawn. We see Dicey take position out towards Snowman. Rossi still here on the site, and Dapper still having a heyday. Healthy as can be as Penny closes us out. It's a round win for G2, but most importantly, they're back in the lead.
There's also a Viper split towards that A side, so going for that attempt was just not going to work out, right? Especially with the kind of execute that we've seen from FaZe every single time they go for that attempt early on. With the Owl Drone, the Viper wall as well, everything that we mentioned. So it gets so much more difficult when you are not going to have that information early on. You cannot bait as much utility as you'd like to from G2. And again, it's rough here, but FaZe... now with the Viper's pit off their own, maybe trying to get a more of a forward position in this first part of the round. It's all been 45 seconds when you see them that last round hitting kitchen. This time around trying to cross mid, and that's where you use the Harbor utility.
My ult is ready.
Well, how interesting, though, right? Because you also have the poison orb there. So what did that high tide actually do for FaZe? It cut off a little bit of tube, I guess. But at the end of the day, they lean towards A. Rossi not quite a part of the equation just yet. Jump peek there. Should have spotted the op. The Nano Swarm will clear backside, and with 45 seconds left, it does seem that this is going to be the commit. Poise is dancing with death. Op shot misses. Oxy will back away. The Viper's pit, it does allow them to find the site. Baby Bay seemingly to be the one that plants. Here comes the Hunter's Fury just behind, though, as the spike gets planted. Dicey falls. But this round's still looking pretty good for FaZe. They've done good damage. They've got the spike planted. The Viper just walked right into Penny. Unfortunately, that pit will fall just as Superman did, like a sack of potatoes. And there's only one real avenue. Now to try and fight your way back into this one if you're FaZe, because the wall is up for 10 and poised. With a Stinger, with Sheriffs, whatever it may be, this fight won't be won as G2 will find a fit.
Just really struggling to get that side positioning, that post plan that they want to for FaZe, right? It's G2. Only 1 second where we saw Oxy going back and being suppressed. Couldn't do too much, but immediately coming back in with an operator as well, knowing they're going into a Viper spit and still able to capitalize from it so well. Just that aggression that we're now seeing from G2, it is giving them so much more to work with. Even ultimate to work with. Look at this. FaZe could get any of the three from either Rossi, Poise, or Dicey. I love to see a lockdown coming through here, knowing that Dapper is going to have his own.
And last round, I was going to mention that Shazam was going to be faster to the Hunter's Fury than Poised was to the lockdown, but Shazam sent that Hunter's Fury, and it was for good reason. It was a round one, but I think that when we see Poised finally pick up that ult orb and get that lockdown, that could be the thing that turns the tides for FaZe to get back into this win column. For now, though, it's all G2.
It's gonna work a little bit different though. Now it's only the Owl Drone coming in. Before, no, that early use of utility that doesn't leave that leaves FaZe with barely anything to use for this post plan, though. That's the problem, right? Because they don't invest enough, they can't really go in. Baby gets tagged as well, and they just out of that have to back up for a couple more seconds.
Hey, Dryad, help my peanut brain reel this in. What's going on outside of Baby Bay dying out towards A? Outside of the site hit actually going that way in the op, falling in mid. Never mind. I'm going to ask this question here in a second because once more FaZe have crept their way up onto the A side and Dapper in early lockdown. But you only have 30 seconds. You don't have a whole lot of time, and guess what? The operator's back. Nope, it was only momentarily. And unfortunately, no return on investment.
Oh.
From the resurrection there as they work their way back towards B with 18 seconds on the clock. Somebody's got to make a move. They got to pull the trigger, and it's Penny, the one to hold down Mouse 1. Leave Dicey all on his lonesome. A pip away from the reckoning, but he doesn't want to do it through death because he only has 550 credits. As this one, time subsides. G2 find their sixth, and Dryad, I'm going to go back to it here. What, FaZe were finding success hitting B. Are they afraid of the op that much?
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like there were some like 3 different ideas going on at the same time, right? Because Dicey was also in a forward position towards that A side, but at that point he was the only one there and had to back up to be with the rest of the team, had to invest that wall as well. And at that point, everybody was down. G2 was pushing forward. Penny once again capitalizing as he has been doing throughout this map, and just everybody going for a different plan that doesn't end up working out.
Revealing area.
At the very least, at the start of the round, FaZe will lean once more back out towards A. This is a dance that we have seen, well, since basically the inception of IceBox. Hunter Shuri looking to clear out some angles. A very forward lockdown. This is going to force the defenders off the site, but maybe it'll push them forward to try and deal with this one. As Baby Bay falls, Penny will be answered for, and nobody else now can fight for that lockdown. Nobody detained, however. The defenders not on the site to stop the plan.
But is this going to be any different to what we've seen from FaZe before, right? Look, they're playing, some of them really close. Odyssey has a showstopper. It's going to create all of that space. And it's all about the delay that you're able to create here. Poise getting one as well. Good opportunity, though. G2, once again, finding a way to enter back. Superman in a 1v2. VP's low here, but the time running out. G2 should be able to make it happen. Yeah, Oxy's going to push forward. No fear here.
And I mean, a lot of chaos in that round, but negative comms. That Oxy was doing Oxy things. There were 0 comms, and Oxy was blast packing his way in, just blasted somebody 410 with the rocket, wasn't dead yet, and I think it was Poised. Poised was running away with the round, finding 2 kills that he had no business finding with the Stinger, and Oxy is eventually there to stop that reign of terror. This is heartbreaking right here. That, I mean, Oxy just goes unquestioned after finding that rocket kill. And because of it, Oxy was the one who steals momentum away from Poise and takes the round.
And after that, you're just lacking so much, right? Because you don't have that Hunter's Fury to invest in that later round. FaZe doesn't have a comfortability that we saw from them early on. And it just looks rough, to be honest. G2 looking so much more confident, really having the game plan that goes from beginning to end for this read to work out. I mean, Oxy is just here by himself, and the operator's not going to get stopped anytime soon.
No, and they're just going to try and challenge it, putting their bodies on the line, and FaZe will be punished for it. Last round, it was Stingers, it was Sticks and Stones. They had some slingshots, and they almost made it work. This time, they put rifles in their hands. I mean, Oxy's cutting him down with the frenzy.
With everything, basically. We've seen the kills coming with the showstopper, with the pain shells, with the operator, the frenzy. Just everything for Oxy and also Penny to work out so well together, especially because most of the hits that we've seen from FaZe end up on that A site. And G2, they're ready for it. Every single time that utility's helping out so much to create that delay that we've seen where FaZe only has 10 seconds remaining, can do anything, cannot get that spike planted, cannot get comfortable ever. There's gonna be one more time here. G2, they get to 8.
At G2 to 8, the credits don't look the best for FaZe, but they do have that full loss bonus, and we'll see what they muster up. It's Poised, again, has a lockdown. We just saw it a few rounds ago. He's got another one. I thought that would be win condition. Unfortunately, it was not, but we'll see if things change. Taking stock of the rest of the utility, though, it's basically full util across the board, right? Only one shock dart for Rossi, but he's got the drone.
There's 2 operators.
Oh, no. I asked for Cypher off, and I'm getting Sova up.
Just, come on, you know. Maybe he needs one for that null command, but that's still not gonna do too much against G2. It just FaZe really struggling to get this side control.
Yeah, I did think that the majority of their success came from hitting this B site. So we get another lockdown. This is, I believe, 3rd on the half for Poised. And it'll force everybody off. No way to deal with that one, unfortunately. Shazam still with the operator in hand. Meanwhile, Oxy has since swapped over. Okay, the Nano Swarm, the snake bites, and Whippy eventually able to collect the kill. Assist there courtesy of Dapper. High Tide to try and slow things down, and That one just going to be tossed on out, but it doesn't cut off the high sight lines there. Oxy still sees everything. Can't use the utility, however. Now that cascade will help cut off some of those sight lines. Baby May falls. I'm not sure how that happened, but Rez is there. Now the fight's taken forward. The wall is up and the bodies are starting to drop, and they can just stick to the fuse. It doesn't matter. This one's over. G2 will find their 9th. Baby Bay will try and frag out.
What happened?
Behind it. Yeah, we got it. I wish somebody had to be playing like counter lineups or something.
What happened?
He died by like a garage or something.
Yeah, it was pretty far back as well. And he gets res. They were in a safe position too. Just a couple questioning things going on here for FaZe. As once again they struggle to find an answer all the way till the end of this first half. To me, it just seems like it's a style here that's not really fitting what they want to do, right? It really clashes with the different ideas that they seem to have for this A site, this very specific A site hit, and even that B hit where, you know, we saw Rossi planting the spike, we knew there was no way he was gonna get out alive.
And now G2, the team ahead 6 rounds at the half. Also 100% on their pistol rounds. Have an opportunity to keep that perfect pistol score line and find double digits, which ultimately kind of puts that final nail in the coffin for FaZe. We'll see if that's the case, though, as G2 still got to show us a competent attack. 3 players out towards A, 2 players working up towards B. And, I mean, when you see the duelists on this side of the map, that might call for rotations, especially with Shazam right behind him. The drone comes out. Util popped up as well, and Boys will be the only one spotted. Look at this, though. They haven't quite been on it. Only one rotated over Dryad.
And I like this idea, right, for a G2. The pistol rounds that we've seen from them so far have involved a lot of aggression with everybody involved. But now, for G2, they keep 2 of the players towards the B side, trying to get a pick. Then they go back for that rotation. They have that A side all for them to get that spike planted, play this postal, and this should work out so much better for them than it did for FaZe.
Yeah, plant stalled for just a moment. Flash and recon bolt going to be used to try and keep the defense at bay. Baby Bay, the only one who has any semblance of high ground for now. Superman able to even the odds. Shazam, a beautiful flick to take down the robot. He'll head back to the factory as Shazam does it again. Dapper, I mean, he gets a kill off the site with the nano swarm. And there's just so much toss this way. Dicey not good enough in the 1v4 here in the pistol. And G2, 3 rounds away from pushing us to Haven. This is a different G2 than what we saw in Fracture.
Absolutely. I mean, it just looks so much better, so much more coordinated, and the plans as well. It was just a lot of things that were lacking for FaZe to be able to get that composition to work out on the attacking side. Now it doesn't work on that pistol round, and they're gonna go for that commitment again with the frenzies at hand. But, I mean, at this point, you can already tell it's just not working out. The high ties that we saw for FaZe were just to make that rotation towards mid. So everything was so readable for G2.
Bomb buddy out.
FaZe, in true FaZe fashion, gonna force up the Stinger. Supa doesn't want to give that up just yet, holding his cards close to his chest, so he takes down the Boombot with just the classic. You have to assume, if you're G2, you have to assume that there are Stingers in the hands of these players, and if you lose this round in your FaZe, there's gonna be Stingers in your hands for the rest of the game.
Yeah. There's not really a lot of big chances, big opportunities here to make mistakes anymore from FaZe. He's playing for contact here. Doesn't take any damage. Superman just a little bit. The shield gets broken.
Oh my goodness, okay, they wait behind the poison orb. Unfortunately, they're only good for one. The surprise play, well, it worked onto Penny, so they won't have the wall here, but other than that, maybe biting off a bit more than they could chew. Not expected to run into 5 out towards B. Long pushing through, though. Rossi and Baby Bay trying to bring matters into their own hands. Rossi, util available. Shock darts out, and the swarm grenade will force him all the way to the left. The kills are still being traded. Dapper getting crazy through his nano swarm. And it'll be allotted just enough time to get that spike planted. The turret gives away the info, and Dicey's there. The turret didn't matter. The Phantom has been found, and FaZe will take the round.
It seems like that shouldn't have worked out, right? For a second, things really slow down. The time is running out, and you see Baby running in, trying to make things even. He does, and is able to get that round for FaZe. So the second time that second round is taken away from G2, thanks to those weapons that can be so dangerous. And G2 is going to fight back, is going to do exactly the same. So a lot of back and forth, requiring that close contact and potentially the slow hit to come from G2. Though they have the utility that they have to work with to enter this A side is so much better than what we saw from FaZe.
FaZe still have to keep it going though. And they're staring down the most unpredictable round here on the game. Full stingers once more. Round 15 could really go either way. Oxy gonna get tagged by the drone. Nano Swarm to try and buy some time. Lockdown already available for Dapper, and that's gonna force everybody off the site. But I don't know if Baby Bay is gonna make it. No shot in the back. Penny happy to take down Baby Bay early in this round with everybody off the site. The spike's been planted, and there's only 4 alive here for FaZe to retake.
This is what Penny has been doing over and over again, right? Catching this out of FaZe off guard in situations like this one where they're trying to escape. You're not watching your back, and that's when he's able to strike and take you down. So FaZe trying to fight back. It's a 3v4. G2, they would like to get away with this round. Superman.
I think they just might. I think they just might. Dicey left all on his lonesome. This time, though, it's not a 1v1. It's a 1v4. One falls. The next one up is going to be Shazam, and he'll hit this one out of the park. G2 will secure their 11th, and Brian, I'm already tired of the Stinger. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I never liked it in the first place. When we see from FaZe and they're playing that neon comp and they're playing the fast play style, it looks great, right? But when it's rounds like this one, then it gets a lot rougher because you're understanding what's making the difference here for G2, and to see and to get to 11 FaZe, the only rifle that they had was in the hands of Dicey, and it was the last one there. It got shot down, and it's just over and over again that we're going to continue to see this.
And we've kind of seen a lack of aggression from FaZe here on the defensive side. I would say even here on IceBox as a whole. You mentioned that whole first half was so slow. And the wherewithal, right? For G2, they say, hey, guys, we're 16 rounds in. They haven't done anything aggressive. We're expecting it this time, and they net their first kill onto Superman. So one set of smokes off the table. We'll see if Dicey can be enough to try and cut off sight lines here in the retake. Once more, Penny gonna get that spike planted. Nano Swarms go down. Shock darts deal with the util, and Penny walks away with 1 HP, or should I say glides away, as he'll survive. And FaZe once more, 4 players to their name. Recon Bolt reveals 3 of 4. Rossi still playing up inside the nest. Oxy, good kill onto 1. Dapper gonna find the next, and I mean, this is all she wrote here. G2 just cutting them down as Rossi tried his darndest, but damage in a 1v3 is not enough to win it. G2, they lost pretty handedly on Fracture 13-5, and they're looking to one-up FaZe here on IceBox Triad.
It really seems like that's gonna be the case, and it just doesn't really make sense to me, right? Looking at this FaZe composition, yeah, we're excited to see the Harbor, but we never really got to see the Harbor being played out to a point where it made sense for this team specifically, right? They're forced into this double controller, they have to play it slower, and Baby Bay has these flashes of going in and trying to frag out, but and nobody else is able to capitalize from those. So Oxy is just gonna go off for what could be that last round, gets to right away. Baby Bay is down, Rossi is down. What can FaZe do anymore?
And that was so clean. Oxy stands, Oxy believers now have a map that they can look at and say, this guy really is him. He needs one more for the 4K. He'll be robbed of that, but Supa now needs to find the ace, and he's off to a good start here. Still healthy. Light shields, unfortunately, but 2 snake bites. An ultimate to play with as the attackers turned defenders of G2. Now to play this one slow. Supa needs to push forward, but Whippy's on the back lines, and G2 will do it. Dryad, they best and one-up FaZe here in map 2 to get us out to map 3.